They went to war in the Pacific Theater, 100 brave young men. 7 months later, less than half came home. But in those crucial 7 months of battle, they had become the undisputed champions of the Pacific. They were the pilots of the Naval Carrier Air Group 15. Lieutenant Wendell Van Twelves was nicknamed Duz, or Old Dozen, by his fellow aviators on the USS Essex due to his impressive number of enemy kills. They were a tightly knit group of men whose bravery and grit allowed them to successfully battle the Japanese throughout the Pacific Theater. Growing up in Spanish Fork, Utah, young Van caught the aviation bug early in life, taking flying lessons at Brigham Young University through the Civilian Pilot Training Program.
I was taught by a civilian instructor who was sponsored by the government, and after 6 hours I soloed. I had my whole family at the airport, holding their breath and saying prayers, I'm sure.
Following college at BYU and more flight training at Utah State University, Twelves met a recruiter and enlisted in the Navy. Although he was well on his way to becoming a skilled pilot, there was one more thing he needed to learn.
I was told from the very beginning that there were 3 ways of doing things: the right way, the wrong way, and the Navy way. So as soon as I learned to fly the Navy way, I was able to progress quite rapidly through primary training.
With World War II in full swing, Twelves soon found himself assigned to the USS Essex carrier and piloting an F-6F Hellcat, a fighter specifically designed by Grumman to combat the deadly Japanese Zero.
The Navy's Grumman Hellcats sight and down a Japanese bomber.
The Hellcat was a beautiful airplane to fly. Leroy Grumman's theory was to make it strong, make it work, and make it simple.
Twelves and his squadron saw combat throughout the Pacific Islands, first over Wake Island, and then up and down the island chains, trying to knock out Japanese air power. He downed his first 2 enemy planes near Guam.
On the 19th of June 1944, I shot down 2 Zeros. They were strafing what we call the Seagulls, so we turned in and tried to give them some help. I was able to pick up a Zero immediately and make a good run on it. The other I got by just swinging around low in the water in a hard turn. Came around right in his face. Both kills were confirmed.
On September 13th, Van Twelves shot down 2 more Japanese planes, an Oscar and a Nate. Later, he would encounter a new type of enemy aircraft, which nearly proved fatal.
The Japanese had introduced a new plane called a Frank. It looked just like a P-47. When one first came at me, I thought it was a P-47. I was totally surprised, but not after he shot out half my dashboard. I gave a call on the radio that we were being attacked. He went screaming by. There were several of them along with the Zeros. I picked up one of those too.
In mid-October of 1944, the First Battle of the Philippine Sea took place. The Japanese attacked the U.S. fleet with bombers and kamikaze attacks. Twelves went out looking for enemy warships to attack. Along the way, he shot down a Betty bomber, bringing his kill count to 11.
I don't know where all the planes came from, but out of the clouds they came. They jumped us, really hammered us. They split us up, but due to that well-built Hellcat, I was able to get away. I took a tremendous pounding that day.
On the 5th of November, Twelves picked up his 2 final kills of the war, bringing his total to 13. On that same day, his squadron lost another one of their own to the Japanese. Out of the original group of 100 American pilots, 62 had perished. But despite their losses, this determined squadron had managed to shoot down over 300 enemy aircraft and sink numerous Japanese ships.
My decorations include a Purple Heart, 8 Air Medals, a Silver Star, 6 Distinguished Flying Crosses, and the Navy Cross.
Van Twelves earned his Navy Cross by strafing and then bombing the Japanese aircraft carrier Zuikaku with his 500-pound bomb. He was under heavy enemy fire at the time of his bombing run and didn't bother to turn back to see if he had scored a hit. It was only after he was safely back on the carrier that his commander got on the intercom and announced,
"I just want to report that Lieutenant 12's got a direct hit on the Zuikaku with a 500-pound bomb. It was a beautiful sight to see the explosion. As a result, I'll recommend him for the Navy Cross."
Air Group 15 figured heavily in 23 major engagements, including 2 full-scale naval battles. It was able to destroy battleships, carriers, troop ships, and more airplanes than any other group had ever destroyed. It set the record for enemy aircraft shot down in a single day, produced the leading naval ace of the war, and won glory and medals for all of its survivors. As for Lieutenant Wendell Van Twelves, his name is forever written in the history books as a top naval ace of World War II.